Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Sunday Night Satsang with John and
Michelle. Hi everybody.
welcome, and this is the last one of 2021.
I can't believe it.
Absolutely, this year has flown, hasn't it? Really gone by quick. And today actually is full moon at 6:25 this morning. I think
this morning.
6:35 this morning. Yeah. So full moon, and we're coming up to a very special solstice. So we're going to be looking at that tonight, yeah. So welcome, and tonight we're going to be looking at a few interesting things and closing the year off, and just giving us some ammunition for the festive seasons ahead of us.
That's a good idea.
We need some ammunition because the mind goes crazy sometimes when we get involved with friends and family. So welcome everyone.
Tell us where you're from.
Yeah, let us know where you're from. We love getting the hearts, so thank you. And also, if you enjoy what we're sharing, please press the like and the share button. It really does help get the satsang out to a broader audience. So thank you. Hello, Lisa. Hi from Cape Town. Yeah.
Hello,
And Agatha. Hi,
Agatha.
Yeah. We've got hot weather here today in Cape Town. We've had
it's been a beautiful day.
27, 28 degrees today. And Agatha, you in London? I don't think you're that. I don't know how cold it is there. Yeah. Merlene, hello Merlene. Yeah, hello to everyone.
Hi.
So welcome. And hopefully you've lit a candle and maybe even some incense. And this is a very sacred time, the Sunday Night Satsang. It's a time of centering ourselves in the very heart of life, in the very center of creation itself, which is a very sacred place. So welcome.
Christine and Terry from Qatar, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
It's not every time that you can join us, so it's
And
lovely to see
Daniela.
Daniela.
Hi.
Wonderful.
Yes. So let's start this evening by withdrawing our mind from our stories, from our hectic lives, and from all the stuff happening around us and the media, etc., and just become centered in the very center of life, which is the present moment, which is the here and now. And let's just gently close our eyes. See that you're comfortable, you've got enough cushions, you made arrangements not to be disturbed for the next little while. And we take a very deep breath in and a long breath out. And as we sigh, we let go of all that no longer serves us in this moment. And we take a second very, very deep breath in right down to your toes. And as you breathe out, just relax your shoulders and your neck muscles. Just let all the stress, all the tension go. Let it go. Take a third very deep breath in now, again, right down to those toes, so you're drawing the air right the way in. And as you breathe out, just let all those thoughts of today, of yesterday, of to tomorrow go. Just become supremely focused in the present moment, in the here and now. It's the only place that's real. It's the only place that we can directly experience life. And life is sacred. So as we center ourselves in the present moment, we enter a direct communion with life, with the sacred essence of being. Let's just become focused in our body, becoming aware of our feet and our hands, becoming aware of our torso. Our body is always in the present moment. It's only our mind that goes places. So we use this as an opportunity in this moment just to become focused in the present moment. We use the alignment of our awareness with the body as a portal into presence. And presence is the very place of creation that we get to create our next experience from. And if we create from the space of resentment or anxiety or anger or guilt, we create more uncomfortableness, more suffering for us in the future. But if we completely surrender all of our thoughts to just this moment here and now, we enter a place of peace. And from this place of peace, we create a new earth. We have such power within us to create our futures. And that's the power in the thoughts you think and the feelings you feel. But in this moment, we're letting go of all thoughts. And within us, we're creating the feeling of peace, of centeredness. And we drop our awareness now into our hearts. And we feel our heart opening. And as our heart opens, we become a channel, an open, clear channel for love to flow through us into this world. And what the world needs more now than anything else is love. And we can't create love. We can't force love. But we can open ourselves to love. And we do that by opening our hearts and surrendering to life exactly as it is in this moment. And as we open our hearts and as we feel this flow of love coming through us into the world around us, we radiate this love to our friends and family, anyone you know of who's in need right now. Just embrace them in this field of love. Love has no needs. It doesn't need to fix anything. It just holds, just embraces. So we don't need to try and change anything. Love just allows, accepts, and appreciates. That's the energy of love. But within that is the magical power of grace. And grace transforms through the process of the miraculous. And we radiate this love further out into the world, into our communities, into our towns and cities, to our countries and continents. We feel this radiance of love washing through all of humanity and surrounding the earth this very auspicious evening in a beautiful, beautiful bubble of white light laced in gold. And for tonight, there is a portal that is open, a great alignment with the deeper center of the galaxy, and this love that we are opening ourselves up to is able to be amplified in powerful ways to obliterate the darkness, the unconsciousness of the human mind. Through the power of grace, it's able to open up the hearts of all men, women, children, and bring the peace that we seek to Mother Earth. And we do this not through trying to change anything, but through the beautiful vibration of acceptance, allowing and appreciation. When you feel appreciation, love flows. There is so much beauty in this world. And now we take another very deep breath in, drawing the breath of life right into our body. And a beautiful, long, relaxing, releasing breath out. Just allow yourself to sit for a moment or two in the center of your heart, in a place of stillness, in a place of peace, completely awake and aligned to life as it is in this moment, with a feeling of joyful appreciation for this gathering tonight. And giving thanks, you might like to, when you're ready, gently open your eyes and just see how you feel. How do you feel right now? Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for being with us. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Croaky throat.
Yeah, bit of a croaky throat.
Thanks, John. That was lovely. So welcome, everybody. Those of you who joined us while John was leading us in there, into that quiet place. So it's quite a big day today. You might have felt the energy building up. So astrologically, I've done my whole news broadcast thing already. But I just thought I'd check in again because today is the day of the full moon. And it's a particularly special one. So basically, the galactic center, which is the middle of our Milky Way, it's the center of our Milky Way, is aligned with 27 degrees of Sagittarius. And today, so every year, Sun goes to 27 degrees Sagittarius, so it's a yearly happening, but it doesn't often happen on the same day as a full moon. So full moon's the same day, which means that it's potent, because full moon on its own is a potent release point. It's a release, it's a letting go point, it's a culmination point. So it's kind of things have been building and it sort of culminates. And then we've got a second sort of shift, if you like, on the 21st, which is the solstice. So just focusing a little bit on today's full moon though. And I drew a card while John was busy leading us in, and it's so perfect. I'm going to read it to you because it's exactly what it's about. The universe has amazing ways of doing that when you feel like, pull a card. So I pulled one. So the full moon is in the sign of Gemini, and it's opposite the sun in Sagittarius, and that's all about information, thoughts, a lot of thoughts coming at us. So when there's a full moon, it's amplified. Whatever those signs are, it's amplified. So you might have been finding, over the last couple of days that thoughts have been amplified. There's been a lot of build-up of energy. Maybe anxious thoughts, maybe fearful thoughts, maybe thoughts about the past. So there's an amplification of stuff in our heads, really. Gemini is the sign of thoughts and communication, and opposite Sagittarius, which is the sign of truth. So obviously we're being blasted with information from all over the place, and it's for us to actually find that place of peace and the place of truth within us. So that's what this full moon is really telling us, that in order to actually move through the challenges that we have, it's to actually find that place of peace. And so is this card saying the same thing. So I'm going to read that to you just now. The other part of this, though, is the ruler of the full moon is in the sign of, the ruler of the full moon is Mercury. Mercury being the ruler of Gemini. And Mercury is actually in the sign of Capricorn. And Capricorn's quite sort of serious and quite mature. And sort of coupled with that Gemini, there's sort of a playful, active energy, as well as it can be a heavy energy. And it could also just be paying attention to and being responsible for the thoughts that we think. And knowing that we actually have the choice of what thoughts we want to think, and have the choice of actually clearing our minds as well. So it's kind of responsible communication as well. How are we communicating with other people? Sensitive communication. Is this necessary that I want to say this? Should I say it, or should I just hang on a sec? Especially in the next few days. I would say next few days, take deep breaths before you act. A good plan. Because there's a lot of kind of very big energy without going into too much detail. The other thing is that today, the planet Venus, which is the planet of love, beauty, peace, harmony, relationship, values, Venus basically stations today, which means that from our perspective, it looks like she's standing still before she goes retrograde. And she goes retrograde for nearly 3 months. She goes retrograde till March. And that whole time that she's going to be retrograde, today included, she's actually right next to the planet Pluto, which intensifies everything and brings things up. Good old Pluto brings things up to the surface. So it could be that your relationships are feeling a bit more intense. For some people, it can mean that people come like blast from the past. They contact you, and you get to actually look at those feelings that you used to have and how you've changed it, how you've shifted. So it's really, the way I sort of see it is, if you look at Venus and you look at Pluto, it's that love as the transforming agent. and that we are, with everything that we're going through, we're actually saying, okay, what is important now? What are the most important things? What are my values? What do I value? How do I add value? If I'm doing this or I'm doing that, if I'm trying to make a decision, which one is the most valuable to me and others? So value. So we want to chat about that a little bit tonight as well. This is an invitation in the next few months to lean in, to go deeper. Venus and Pluto together, traveling along, go deeper. It's building intimacy. And it's not just intimacy with a lover, it's intimacy with ourselves and with the divine, with love. That's the way I see it. It's creating the space for intimacy. So I think much like if you're in a relationship and there's the romantic side, and you light the candle and you bring flowers and you have a beautiful meal together, it's creating that space for intimacy where you can actually listen to yourself. You can listen to the divine. You can listen to your partners. Just that intimate space, deeper, more quieter. That's what's really going to see us through. Full moon's always a time to let go and release. So it's releasing any patterns that we don't want. So whatever's not going so well in your life, to just say, well, what can I do differently? Not in a judging way, but what can I do differently? I'm feeling stagnant. Maybe I need to get out and exercise more. Or maybe I need to change the way I communicate with myself or somebody else. Or maybe I need to put a routine into play. Whatever it is, maybe I need to change my diet. Whatever it is, really look to see if I really valued myself. That's quite a good way to start the sentence. If I really valued myself, what would I do differently? That's a nice one to ask. And how can I be more intimate with myself, with my relationship to the divine, with my relationship with others? Also finding beauty in each moment, because there's always beauty. So that's a really good thing, which we're going to go through as well. And then just in terms of the solstice, that's on the 21st, and the solstice is basically where the sun goes into Capricorn, and it's the start of our days in the southern hemisphere getting shorter and in the winter hemisphere getting longer. But it really sets the scene, as solstice always sets the scene energetically for a 3-month period until the next movement, the next shift. So really, the chart for the solstice kind of sets the tuning fork almost for the next few months. And this is the energy that we're actually going to be working with, this intimate energy, this deeper energy. And there's going to be more truths revealed for us, in ourselves and out in the world. I think there's going to be a lot more coming up to the surface in the next few months. So any questions? Did I explain that okay?
Yeah, did very well. Thank you. I won't get you. Just one point on what you were saying there. It's interesting because you say that Mercury rules
Gemini.
Mm. And Mercury is obviously about the mind as well, is it? Yeah.
Mind.
And at this time, particularly at full moon, you might find that your mind is like a tyrant at the moment, and maybe it's not being, your servant, it's being your master. And that's quite understandable, because the very aspect of the full moon, we know, initiates more thinking, just the moon itself.
And emotion.
And we know that, more emotion, we know that in so-called lunatic asylums, they generally have to up medication at the full moon because the mind gets out of control. So we must understand that insanity is when the mind is out of control. Sanity, on the other hand, is when you're in stillness. Stillness is presence, and that's when you're the most sane. So every thought is a movement away from sanity, if you can think of that. And every word that comes out of your mouth, I'm going to suggest maybe might be a movement away from sanity as well. So it's to up the meditation at this time and the appreciation, walk in nature, and just be still with the flowers and the trees and the shrubs. Be still with the insects and little animals. And you might like to even be still with your partner and just appreciate, be in a state of appreciation for them, because all of that calms this mind that's been so activated at the moment by Mercury by this full moon.
Absolutely, well done.
That was
Well
my 2
said.
cents worth.
No, thanks for your 2 cents worth. It's exactly in line with this that I just pulled you, which
What
John
card
hasn't
is
seen. It's called, I don't know how to say it, it's
Sure.
Zhu Zhaning, I think it's called, the Mystic of the Peace. And the words on the card, and I'm going to read it to you, says, I am peace. When my mind is clear, the way is clear.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's so potent for today. It really is. So I'm going to read it to you because it's quite interesting. I don't know how you say it. Zhu Zhaning embodies the unwavering tranquility that exists deep beneath the turbulence of our daily thoughts. Zhu Zhaning was a 12th century Taoist mystic and poet. The night before her son's death, she had a dream that she was immersed in a red mist. This is a very auspicious sign in Chinese culture. The title given to her as a master was Free Human of Mystic Peace. The emphasis in her poetry was the power inherent in stillness. The secret of the receptive, she writes, must be sought in stillness. The way, or Taoism, is a spiritual practice of clearing the mind so that when we take action, it isn't from the ego, it's from the source of life itself. The pedestal of awareness is steady as a boulder. Zhu taught that meditation allows us to disengage from the surface drama the ego can invite us into. She often refers to the moon in her poetry because this was the symbol of the eternal sky, or the freedom we can reach if we stop looking at the light and shadows and shadow the moon casts and see the moon itself. So that's very in keeping with Mercury being in Capricorn as well. The pedestal of awareness is steady as a boulder. It's that steadiness. It's like the commitment to it as well. Mercury in Capricorn is the commitment. Venus is in Capricorn. Pluto's in Capricorn. It's the commitment to the practice of stillness throughout the day. Then when your soul selects her card, Albert Einstein reportedly said that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Clarity only comes from clarity. There is a peace and calm that exists far beneath the constant banter most of us listen to all day long within our minds. Jungian author Clarissa Pinkola Estes, you might know of her, she wrote Women Who Run with Wolves, calls it the river beneath the river, the river beneath the river. It's the steady flow of the universal life force that wants us to reach our goal if we can only get still enough to merge with it. It's the steady flow of the universal life force that wants us to reach our goal if we can only get still enough to merge with it. Wu Wei in Taoism translates as doing nothing. It's a sacred feminine art of trusting the force of life that exists within us all. Zhu mastered this spiritual practice by calming her mind and experiencing the still center that is at the eye of every storm. Zhu is a call for us to be still, to do nothing other than shift our awareness, come out of the current state of mind we're in before making any moves or decisions. She reminds us that we only want to take action when what is moving us is the force of love at the heart of everything. I mean, that could not have been a better card. Soul voice meditation. Enter the heart and ask to experience stillness. Repeat the mantra, I am peace. And then in the intention, I am peace. When my mind is clear, the way is clear.
That's absolutely beautiful, hey? And so appropriate. Don't you think
Yes.
that's very appropriate
Really
to where we are right now? That's absolutely amazing, hey?
Yeah.
And I've never heard of her.
Nova, and
Never
I've
heard
never
of
seen
her.
that card.
No.
No, it was for the group.
Incredible.
It's for us
And that's
tonight.
from the pack, it's called
Divine Feminine.
Divine Feminine.
Yeah, it's amazing pack. So, yeah, and it's very apt. The reason I also wanted to pull a card was because this Venus-Pluto thing is very much the Divine Feminine. That's what we're visiting, all of us, men and women, in the next few months, is getting more familiar because the Divine Feminine is rising. And that is what that's what's going to balance the imbalance that we have. I think it was Zach Bush, that thing that we listened to with Zach Bush, and he said it was like the eagle flying with one wing and sort of going down, and then another wing, the wing of the feminine coming in and actually evening out the flight of the eagle or the phoenix. So that's what it is. It's the divine feminine rising in power so that she can actually balance the feminine. I'm not talking about women, I'm talking about the feminine.
Yeah, because it's been interesting, we've spoken about this before, that the feminine energy was really hijacked back in the 1960s with the women's lib movement.
Yeah.
And what was injected into women then was the masculine. And women then, over the next, how many years is that, 50, 60 years, have strived to find themselves in terms of the energy of doing, which is the masculine energy, and it's totally undermined the feminine energy. The feminine energy is very different to the energy of doing. And, to come back to that's the imbalance in the world. We all define ourselves by doing. And we need to counteract that with this beingness. And, just suggest that maybe we do have an extra few holidays over this festive season now. And if we can spend or invest a fair amount of that time just in being, no doing at all, just being. And that will definitely balance the masculine and the feminine, I feel.
Yeah, it will. And I think a lot of us stay away from that, because when we go into that state of being, we might not feel valued, we might not feel valuable. We might have a lot of thoughts like coming whooshing in because we've switched the phone off, or we're not watching anything, or we're not taking any information. So we kind of can feel like we're deluged by thoughts. So it's just to, at that point, it's just to see if you can just go through that and just sit with it and not be scared of discomfort. I was watching something yesterday, which, he was saying we avoid discomfort. And if emotions come up and they're uncomfortable, it's like, let me run from this. I don't want to feel this. And sometimes it's just a case of feeling it. And that's also Venus, Pluto. It's feeling the feminine, which is feeling those feelings that are coming up. Feelings of not being valuable unless you X, Y, Z. So it's.
And another reason or motivation for being still and aligning with that being energy is this season that we're going through now, because with the full moon, the moon is now aligned with the sun, and so there's an energy there, and now the sun is aligning with the center of our galaxy, which is an opening of the river of life. All life comes from a central point, which feeds into the center of our galaxy, which then feeds into our sun, which then feeds into the earth. And right now there is a great opening in that river. And in order to maximize that energy coming in, we need to be out of the mind, because the mind blocks that energy, and into the heart. So it really is a very wise time now to invest in stillness, in being seated in the still place of the heart, the sacred deep well of wisdom and intuition. And a lot of people have got decisions to make, and we have got there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, and the mind isn't going to find solutions for those. I believe it's going to come from this direct flow of the river of life entering us through our heart. And so for the next week, I would suggest we have a real opportune time to actually connect with this river of life through our heart, through this sacred gift that Einstein called the intuition, to be still and know that I am. That's the stillness, that's the beauty. So that's more motivation to practice your stillness, your meditation. Meditation can be sitting with a candle. We always light a beautiful candle for our satsang, so we've got a nice, and it's decorated, and a few Christmas things around it at the moment. It's great to do that. Light some incense, have some crystals, and focus. But it's also good to meditate in informal ways. So while you're walking, be in a meditative state. While you're gardening, be in a meditative state. While you're cooking, be in a meditative state. Even while you are communing with someone else, go into that meditative state. The meditation state is a receptive state. That's the feminine state. And I think we need to honor that more over the next week to remain sane.
That's absolutely, and also Venus, Pluto, it's honoring that feminine. And, so honoring the masculine as well, but just bringing more balance. And we speak about it often because it's so out of balance. And right now, it's very out of balance. I mean, Gemini, with the moon in Gemini, it's a dual sign. It's polarity. It's truth, fiction, information, truth, push, pull, right, wrong. It's very dual. It's opposites. It's opposite sides. So where do you find the middle of that? You find in the middle.
Yeah.
You get out of the seesaw.
Yeah, and the middle of that dualistic dance, there is a couple of words that really embrace that centeredness. And the one word is surrender. Surrender your thoughts, surrender your judgments, surrender your preferences, and just be here in the moment. And the other word that goes so well with that is the word to forgive. Forgive. Just let that be your mantra for the next week. Forgive. Forgive each moment as it occurs. And what does forgive mean? It doesn't mean, it's not a doing act. It's a being act. It's just letting go and allowing this moment to be exactly as it is. That's what forgiveness means. It means releasing and allowing yourself to come back to peace, to come back to love.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we wanted to talk a bit about values.
Yes.
So we all live our lives according to a set of values, a hierarchy of values. And if you want to know what you place highest in your list of values, just look at where you spend your time and where you spend your money. Look at where your money goes, And an old indicator, which isn't so relevant today, is look at what's on your bookshelves. And that's also quite a
It's a good way of getting to know someone when you hadn't met, when you
look
didn't know
at
them.
their books. I always do that when I walk
Me
into
too.
someone's house. Check out
It's
their
not
books.
so reliable now because they're all hidden in the phone.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But it is. It's where you spend your time and where you spend your money. That's generally highest in your list of values. And this time that we're going through now, I believe, is to birth a new world. And the new world is predicated on a new list of values.
Yeah.
And we know from Wayne Dyer did that whole program on the shift, and he spoke about a particular survey that was done in America. And for men, the highest value on their list was wealth creation, adventure, excitement, self-esteem, self-worth. These are all the things. And for women, it was fitting in, it was family, it was attractiveness, and,
It was hard.
and those, yeah. And then people would go through some fundamental shift in their life. For example, you could be retrenched from your job, or your company could go insolvent, or your marriage could collapse, or you get diagnosed with a terminal illness, or someone close to you gets diagnosed with a terminal illness. Suddenly your whole world is turned on its head. And from that, they found a new set of values arose in men and in women. And for men, the highest value then became their spiritual work, their spiritual awakening. And that wasn't even on the top 100 in the beginning bit. And for women, instead of fitting in with family, it became their own awakening. I can't remember exactly what that was.
I can't remember.
But it was something to do with
It was
your
their own kind of way of expressing themselves in the world or something like that.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting, maybe once a year, maybe more than that, to actually sit down quietly with a pen and paper and write down your list of values, because your life will be a reflection of that. If, for example, you value money more than anything else, then I absolutely guarantee you will have money in your life. There's no doubt about it, because that's your highest value. That's where you will spend your most time, your most effort. However, you may end up with money and nothing else. So just be careful of that. Be careful to have a balanced value system.
Oh, what is
And it's awareness that is the greatest agent for change. So it's to be aware of what your current values are, and then to say, well, let me shift my values. What are the values that I would like a new world to be birthed out of? Maybe values of compassion and caring and humanity, maybe of serving rather than always taking and getting. These are the values that we maybe can look off. The value of community is I think something that a new world can be built on, and then the value of love. It's what would love do in this situation? What would love say in this situation? So I think as we look at our values, I think we will create a new life for ourselves and a new community around us.
Yeah, and just the different people, the different situations, and how they are actually adding value. Even the difficult relationships can sometimes add value. So it's maybe also, if you're going to be journaling, you could journal and you could say, okay, what are the three of my positive relationships that I have, and what's the value I give, and what's the value I receive from them, and then do the same for the tricky ones. And say, what might I be learning? How can I value myself in this relationship, even in the ones, because very often they're the ones that are actually showing us what our values are, the difficult ones. So do that exercise. Look at your relationships. Look at three good ones. You might find that the good ones are actually the difficult ones as well. So you might find that there's all sorts of amazing qualities. And then there's some tricky ones as well with the same person. And how do I add value? And what are my values in that particular relationship? And also, have my values changed? Look back 2 years and say, where am I now? You know, are my values now the same as they were 2 years ago? What was very important to me then, and what's very important to me now? And that's what we're going to, as John said, that's what we're going to be using to build this new earth. Is, you know, we've got this last Saturn-Uranus square, which is the old versus the new. It's coming to a head too, also just before Christmas. And it's basically, in order for us to establish a new system, we've got to be pretty sovereign. We've got to sort of say, why am I here? What am I doing here? How can I best serve? How can I best add value? Am I adding value? If I'm not, well then how could I? How may I add value? So that's how we're going to build the new, because it's going to be a case of actually us valuing each other as opposed to using each other like the old system, which is all about greed. This is the opposite of that. So that's what that's what we're building here, is working together, collaborating. Love versus fear, unity versus polarization, flat sort of structures versus top-down, you will do this or structures. And you can look at companies that have done that and people that work like that. They have incredible success without having any top-down anything, where they actually work together as a team. And there's somebody who's maybe holding the energy of it, but there's no boss. And it works very, very well in many respects. But we've been programmed to believe that we can't work like that.
We need to be told
we need
what we
somebody.
do. Yeah.
We need somebody to tell us what to do and keep us in line. And we don't. So this is actually also, this whole Capricorn theme is about us moving into responsibility. I'm responsible for my life. There's nobody else responsible. Not my partner, not my mother, my father, my grandfather. Nobody's responsible except for me. There isn't going to be some white knight shining in armor coming riding in, maybe, but we can't rely on that. You know, we've got to actually be the change. And if the white light angel comes in, then yay, but we're ready. We're ready for it. We can't sit and wait for it. So we are it. And this is it. Yeah. It's now. It's like us standing together on whatever side of the fence we are. Standing together and saying, okay, how can we actually build a better world? Yeah. If not for me, for grandchildren, great-grandchildren, future generations. How can we build that? That's what we're doing here, I believe. That's why we're here. That's what we signed up for.
And I like what you said there, you know, about responsibility in the world. Particularly, I think, in the very developed world, it's all about the rights. It's all about getting right, my rights. And the other side of that is responsibility. What are you responsible for? You know, and are you adding value to the world around you? I mean, that should be, you know, as important as I have rights.
Absolutely.
They both go together.
Yeah,
they really do.
They do.
And the other way of shifting our values as well is back in the 1960s, we got programmed to look to the world of the factory to supply our needs. And I know in the medical world, the birth control pill came along, which changed the quality of people's lives immensely. the birth control pill.
Yeah.
And suddenly we reached to the pharmaceutical industry for happiness and
did.
for quality of life. And we also reached to the brightly colored packets and boxes in the supermarket for our fulfillment.
Ease.
We no longer had potatoes that we had to go home and mash. We now have instant smash. And so we have grown up in a world of sort of commoditized health and commoditized food. And I believe part of the shift that, it was a great adventure, brightly colored packets and all of that, and convenience. It was lovely. But it actually has made us very sick. The quality of health now, particularly in the first world countries, is dismal, particularly in America. And I believe that this new shift, this new earth that's being born now, I think it's coming back to natural, coming back to nature. What does nature have to offer us? Instead of running to the doctor for a chemical that's produced by a pharmaceutical company whose main game is only goal in life is profit.
Yeah.
Rather look into your garden, get to know your garden, get to know the natural herbs that grow in your environment, not ones that grow in another continent, but which herbs grow in your environment. Find a sacred herbalist in your area, and they can tell you which herbs to plant in your garden. Use your garden as your medicine chest, for example, as your pharmacy. That's a different way. And look to your garden and look to your neighbor's garden for working with community gardens so you can start to grow your own food. Those are the values. Value your own food, not valuing money. Then you can go and buy food, but valuing food itself. Let money go. That I believe is part of the disease that has infected the Western world and the Eastern world now, is this disease of money. Money is way, way overrated. Go directly to nature and look for your food, look for your medicines in nature. And as you do that, you become more connected with your community. You'll buy at community kitchens, for example. You'll buy locally. You'll support the little grocer down the road rather than the multinational chain store. Rather come back, and that's another value shift, is to come back to what is natural.
Yeah, beautiful. That's such good advice. And you can even do it in a flat. I had a friend that grew a whole veggie garden in a plastic drain.
Yeah.
You can do microgreens.
Gutter. It was the guttering that she did.
Yeah, guttering. Beautiful. Whole garden, whole herb garden.
Yeah.
And some veggies. So you can do that. You can do microgreens. So even if you don't have a lot of space, we've got a tiny little space, and we're really growing quite a lot in that.
Microgreens, sprouting, for example. Everyone should be sprouting.
So,
There's such a lot of good nutrition in sprouting. Yeah. And it costs virtually nothing. Let go.
It's a commitment.
As we simplify our lives, we don't need money so much. Yeah. And that's liberation. Because if we need money, we're going to be a prisoner to the new financial system. And I believe we need to step out of that. We need to gain our sovereign self again and to be free and to work with communities. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really good advice for going forward. Just, for the way the new world is being formed, is that we're going to be paying much more attention to what we're eating, how we're medicating ourselves, how we're treating our bodies. Is our body valuable? If it is, then what will I do to feed that body? Does it mean I need to plant some microgreens or make some sprouts?
Yeah.
And just, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
You don't have to do everything at once, but these are all kind of really key things that we can contemplate and look at over the next few weeks while we've got maybe a little bit of time off, maybe a little bit of time where you're not so busy. The other theme is creativity. Venus is the planet that relates to creativity. So if you've always liked music, what about dusting off that old musical instrument, or starting to sing, or do something that you love? That starts the process of bringing that in. So you're actually igniting that beauty inside you, and then that just magnetizes it and it sends it out into the world, and it's a flow, creates a flow, and it's really important right now.
Yeah, we spoke many times that the old world is built on fear, And we've been programmed right from a child to be fearful. I mean, even in religion, a lot of religions talk to fear God. You know, it's programmed in us from young. You know, be fearful of the future and all of that. And the new world is built on a different set of values, and those values fall under the umbrella of love. So it's really important. If you love dance, dance. If you love music, learn to play a musical instrument. Contribute music to your community. If you love gardening, garden. You know, this is all part of it. If you love sewing, sew. If you love cooking, cook. It's to express yourself. You know, Kyle Gebran in the Prophet says, work is love made visible. And so many people work for money instead of love. And that is destructive. That is poison. That's toxic for the greater community. So I think we need to reassess our values and to take money off the top value and put it a lot lower down and start to value joy, start to value love in life, start to value serving with your true essence of what you have to give to the world. Every single human being is gifted with unique talents. Share that talent with the community and your needs will be taken care of. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's to work with love, to work moment to moment to moment with love. That's the new world we want to build. Yeah,
moment by moment. For yourself as well. Don't forget.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't forget.
Starts here.
You're on the list.
Starts here.
In fact, you've got to be the top of the list.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, and your own cup's empty, you can't give anything. So it starts with that. If you're tired, rest. If you need to eat, eat.
Yeah.
Look after yourself first.
Yeah.
It's like that whole thing about, you know, when you're on an aeroplane and those things come down from the ceiling to tell you how to save your life. They say you first got to put yours on.
Your mask on first.
You know, before you actually start helping anyone on, put yours on first. That's what we've got to do. So that gives us a little bit to work with and to dance with over the next few weeks.
Yeah, so we're going to be taking a break in our Sunday satsang. We'll be joining you again in January.
Yeah.
And just to give you the heads up, we're starting a new Journey to Freedom course on the 27th of January. And you are welcome to join us for the first week. There's no charge. You just journey with us for the first week. And it is a very liberating course, as the title is, Journey to Freedom, obviously. And it is a new way of living your life. It's a new way of being. It's a new way of seeing the world. And as we change how we see the world, what we look at changes as well. So if you can just put that in your diary, 27th of January, we will be starting the new Journey to Freedom course. A 13-week course. The first week is absolutely free of charge.
Yeah, so join us for the first week. And it's interesting because when we came up with it, it was just as the COVID thing broke last year. And we had no idea how what we were going to be faced with in terms of our freedoms at that point. I mean, it was still very early days in this. And so freedom is on the lips of everybody right now. What is freedom? And that's what we really look at in that course. And it's a transformative course. So if you feel that you're stuck, or if you feel like you need a community, or if you feel like you need some help on your path, then it's a good one.
Yeah, and how high up on your list of values does freedom lie?
Yeah.
Is it right down the bottom, or is it near the top?
Yeah.
So look at that as well. Yeah. So thank you for joining us tonight. Michelle is going to lead us out with a full moon meditation, and then we're going to offer you an affirmation, an affirmation card, which you can carry through with you for the next couple of weeks until we meet again.
Okay, thanks, John. All right, let's just settle in. Take a beautiful deep breath in. Make yourself comfy. And out. And take another beautiful deep breath in, expanding your belly on the in-breath, bringing the breath all the way up into your chest, and then out through your mouth. Blow it out like you're blowing out through a straw. And just settling in a little bit further into your body. Getting yourself comfortable. Continuing to just follow the breath. So just focus on the tip of your nose. With each out breath, just relax your body more and more. Drop your shoulders. Put your shoulders back. Open that heart of yours. And drop into this present moment. The only place where life really unfolds. This is the place where we hear the whispers of our soul. This is the place where we beckoned to come to, the center of our being. So just feel into that, allow it to expand. Imagine yourself standing now on the side of a mountain or a hill and looking out across a beautiful vista. Feel the air on your cheeks. Imagine the temperature of where you are. You might feel the ground beneath your feet. You might hear the rustle of the breeze and some trees nearby. And looking down as it starts to darken. As it starts to darken, the beautiful, beautiful moon starts to rise, as if by magic. And as she rises in the sky, she becomes brighter and brighter. Imagine putting your arms outstretched, welcoming in this beautiful full moon energy. Allow yourself to connect to anything that you'd like to release at this time. And consciously, right now, release that to the full moon. Just release it, let it go, as if it was sort of a balloon or something. Just release it. Let it go up, 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 up into the sky. Any old patterns, old belief systems, old values that don't serve you anymore. Let it all go. Now imagine that your eyes could drift. The sky would be dark now. Your eyes could drift to the Milky Way. And imagine a sort of a spiral of light spiraling into the center of our Milky Way, the galactic center. This beautiful place of connection, transmitter of very powerful energy. Connecting with that energy, allowing yourself to spiral into it and then to bring out the energy from there as a golden cord and bring it all the way into your heart. Allow it to settle right in the center of your heart. And as it settles there, feel your heart opening. Imagine your heart expanding like a beautiful flower, petal by petal. As you water and nourish this heart center with words of love, with words of peace, with beauty, with gratitude. Allow these beautiful feelings to flow into this heart, into the flower in the heart. Let it expand and grow. It's an endlessly flowering flower. As you now settle into that heart center, just be aware of the spaces between your breaths. Be aware of releasing any pressure, any tension, any tightness. Keep coming back to your breath. If a thought should come in, allow it to float on by and bring your focus back to that heart center, to this place, this river beneath the river. The steady flow of universal life force. It beckons to us. The sacred feminine, trusting the force of life that exists within us all. Let us just honor this still point, this still center at the eye of every storm. Just feeling your heart opening and your whole being settling. Setting an intention to return to this place as often as you can over the next few days and the next few weeks. Knowing that there is peace and calm that exists beneath all the noise. It's always here. You can say the words to yourself. I am peace. When my mind is clear, the way is clear. Breathing in and out. And repeating for the last time. I am peace, and feel it. Feel the sense of peace inside you. It's always there. It's the river beneath the river. And I'll just set the intention of radiating this peace all the way out into the field. There's no doing, it's just radiating. You're just allowing it to ripple out from you to the whole world, and then out into the universe. And now taking a deep breath in and out, and another deep breath in. And rub your fingers together, and when you're ready you can open your eyes.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you for being here. Enjoy draw affirmation
I
card.
forgot to say that John's not feeling very well, so he's had a bit of flu. So please send light and love to John.
Healing
I was
light.
going to do that before the meditation. I forgot.
Oh, well, there we got a healing card. We got a healing card. Yeah, the healing card. It's the Ho'oponopono. So as we move through the next couple of weeks with any challenges that we're faced with, we can do the Ho'oponopono on it. And it's a Hawaiian method of healing. It's just basically repeating 4 simple sentences. The first sentence is, I love you. The second sentence is, I'm sorry. Third sentence, please forgive me. And at the end of the prayer, the only thing you need to say, because what you've asked is done, is just thank you. So it's I love you. That's setting the sort of tone of the healing. I love you. I am sorry for the misperception in my awareness that's created this conflict or whatever it is. Please forgive me. It's to take it away. So you're asking a power higher than yourself to take the problem away. And then it's just thank you, because it is done. So it's a lovely card to carry us through the December period. Just the Ho'oponopono. So I'll photograph it and put it up below the tonight's satsang, so then you can copy it, write it out, and in fact I've been meaning to actually do a YouTube clip on that, so maybe I'll do that in the next couple of days. Yeah.
Good idea.
Thank you,
everybody.
Have a beautiful,
Love you
peaceful,
all.
festive season.
Thank you for journeying with us this last year.
Yeah, thank you for joining your life.
It's been a pleasure with you all, and we've learned so much from
Thank
all
you.
of you, and we really value you as a community, so thank you.
We do. Thank you.
Lots of love.
Bless you. Thank you.